Hello everybody. So it's time to answer your questions that were asked across Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And how this is going to work is I have all of them here. Once I read one off, I'm going to put them over here in this jar, and then at the end of it, we'll do the raffle for the Thrustmaster flight stick. So we'll start with the Facebook questions, and then we'll do the Instagram ones next. A lot of great questions came in, and once again, appreciate everybody who participated in this. Makes it more fun, makes it more interesting. So the first question is from Omari Joseph, and he wants to know, what's your favorite type of plane? And my favorite type of plane is probably anything in the 737 class, you know, the 737-700, the 800, 900, all those planes are probably my favorite. If I had to pick one of the three, I'd say the 800 is my favorite. So there we go. We'll get that in there. Let's see here. Next question is from Neil Brown. How you doing, buddy? How do you stop yourself getting bored and having enough of flight simming? I have times when I struggle with my hobby. For me, I just like to do all kinds of different flying. Maybe I'll do some airliner stuff, a long haul, a short flight in like the 737, fly a Cessna, go bush flying, go do some pattern work. I really try to change it up quite a bit. And, if there's a unique route going on, like recently with the fires that were going on in the Amazon, there was an aircraft that left my hometown to go out to the Amazon. So I just did that route. I'll find unique routes. Recently, with the MD-80 retirement, I did the final flight from Chicago to Roswell. So I just try to keep it interesting, keep it different, fly different planes. Try to learn new ones, and for me, that's kind of what keeps it interesting. Next one is from my good friend Oz Flight Simmer, and he wants to know, where do you see flight sim going in the next 3 to 5 years? What new technologies in the sim do you think will make the biggest impact? Well, I think with the new Microsoft Flight Simulator coming out, I think it is really going to take off. Flight sim is getting bigger in popularity because I think the sim is getting more stable. It's looking more nice. And with, Flight Sim 2020 coming out, it's going to bring a whole lot of new people into the hobby, especially getting it on Xbox. A lot of people that don't have nice PCs, there's a lot of people out there that don't have computers like this. They might have a laptop or something, but they don't have a computer that can run these sims. So I think it's going to bring it to a lot more people. Infinite Flight has done that by bringing Flight Sim to people on the mobile platform, and I think you're going to see a lot more people into it. And also, just a lot more people are going to be getting into this hobby. For the other question, what new technologies in the sim? Again, mainly the ones that are going to be in Flight Sim 2020. I think that is going to be a pretty groundbreaking sim, to say the least. So if it wasn't for that, I don't know. I think it would still be progressing slowly, as it always has. But I see good things. A lot more people showing up to these conferences too. You can see the numbers grow each year. So, it's gaining popularity. Next question, Joshua Van D G. Now, do you expect that the recommended PC specs for MS 2020 will be higher or less than the recommended specs for X-Plane or Prepared version 4? Due to the new technologies like Azure AI, new cloud models, new shaders, etc., the AI can save a lot of performance as the world and the autogen are streamed in the system and is no longer billed by the system, as far as I understood it. Yeah, that's what my understanding too, is that it's going to be streamed, and even if it wasn't, I do think the performance requirements won't be, I don't think you'll struggle as much to get a good frames per second, even though it looks amazing, because with Prepared, it's built on technology that's well over a decade old, and I think that's really where it comes from. I think that was a lot of the talk when this was first announced, that what kind of computer specs this is going to take, but I don't think it's going to take much. If you look at DCS looks pretty amazing, and especially Aerofly FS2, if you haven't checked that out, that looks incredible, and run smoothly. You can easily get above 60 frames per second with that sim. So I don't think you're going to have, as big of a problem with that. I think it's going to run really good with the specs you have now. All right, so that's it for the Facebook questions. We'll move on to the Instagram ones now. Brady Margison, sorry if I'm pronouncing these names wrong. I'm trying. Have you thought about flying for a living? I have considered it, but at this point, it's just not something I'd want to do. I'm starting a family, and a lot of these major airlines, you have to go back and get you have to get a bachelor's degree, which I don't have right now, and that would be the first step, is having to go get one of those. Just never needed one with the career I got into. Just didn't need it, just the way things panned out for me. But I have thought about it, and I just don't see myself doing it, not for a living. I just like flight simming. It's fun to do it, comfort of my home whenever I want, and you don't have to be as serious about it. There's no life or death situation going on when you're flight simming. So I have considered it, but I don't think it's for me. Next question by Cryptic Fustix 1. If you make an airline in real life, what would you call it? I'm Cryptic Fustic on YouTube, by the way. Well, how you doing, buddy? What would I call it? Probably something like, if you guys remember PSA, I'd probably bring the Pacific name back into it. I'm off of the Pacific coast, so maybe, I don't know, Pacific something Airlines. That's one I'd have to really brainstorm to come up with a good name, because there's so many names that have been used already. So just, Pacific something. That's something I'd have to really think about. Next one from Shavan1403. At what age did you start playing Flight Sim? Oh, I played it, I think I was probably 13 or 14 when I first tried it, and I didn't spend much time on it. I just kind of just messed around, flew around, probably crashed the plane or something. That seems like what everybody wants to do when they first get the simulator, when you don't know anything about airplanes, and that's all you know is that. So I probably did something like that. I was 13, and then I didn't really pick it up until I was about 24, 25. That's when I really started, getting serious about it, studying it, and learning it. So those were the two times in my life when I started. Oh, and this is from Umar. Oh, no, wait. No, that's the next question. Yeah, that was the Shavan 1403. Yeah, so, yeah. And then Umar 786, how did you feel when you first got your job, and what aircraft were you flying? So I think he thinks that I fly for a living, which I don't. When I first got my job, it was awesome, but it has nothing to do with aircraft. But yeah, that's it for that one. One more for Instagram. Ground to Air Sim. What ultimately kicked the flight bug off for yourself? Well, what really did it was I took a trip. I'm trying to think of the year now when I did this. I think it was 2014. I took a trip from California up to Seattle, and then from Seattle went to Japan, spent a few days in Japan, and then flew over to South Korea. Then flew back from South Korea to Japan, and then spent more time in Japan, and then flew back to LA, and then from LA back up to NorCal. And that was so many flights. I hadn't been on that many flights ever in my life, not consecutively like that across a 2-week period. And the flight back had a lot of turbulence, and I didn't really know anything about planes. I didn't know how turbulence worked, and I came home and I read about it. There was I watched a YouTube video of a captain actually explaining what turbulence is, and I think through starting to learn about the turbulence from the captain and also being on all these flights, I was just very interested in planes after that point, and that's really what got me into it after that point. Which is, it's funny because I'd flown on planes, through different periods of my life. My dad worked in the airlines, not as a pilot or anything, but he did ticket counter. He was ground crew, driving the tug around, cleaning out the planes. He did that stuff, but it still didn't spark my interest until that trip. And for some reason, I came home and I just was really fascinated by airplanes. So now on to the YouTube questions. That's where I seem to get the most of them. I got a whole bunch of them here to go through. So first one is from Arnis Turnada. I'm sorry. What is your real name? My real name is Patrick. Now, I used to introduce myself at the beginning of my flight sim videos, but I kind of quit doing that at some point, just kind of cut to the chase now. But yeah, that's my name. You can find out more about me on FSElite.net, where I'm one of the senior video producers, and I have a little short bio on there. So this one is by Haha Ho Ho. If you could fly any plane, what would it be? And again, for me, it would probably be the 737-800. I know that plane probably the most of any aircraft besides like a Cessna 172, which a Cessna 172 is easy to fly. I could go fly one, this week if I wanted to. You can just go to a flight school and book a flight. So the 738 is a little more far-fetched that I'll ever fly one of those. Maybe one day I can get into a motion simulator, or at the very least just like a stationary 738 sim. There's not one too far from where I live that I could go try out. So I think that would be the plane that I'd be most interested in flying. So this one's from Matt. That's an easy name. Why did you start YouTube? I started this channel. I'd always wanted to start some type of YouTube channel. I just didn't know what to put my focus on, whether it be like cooking videos or like what. So, when I got into flight sim and I started watching the videos on YouTube and I saw what people were doing, I really thought I could take, the skills I already knew about filming and, what angles to get and video editing. I started video editing when I was like 14 years old. So I've always, been knowledgeable about that stuff. And I just thought I could do, put some videos on YouTube, maybe get noticed, maybe get hired by a developer, which, kind of came to fruition with getting noticed by FSElite and then getting hired on that with them and start to make videos. And then, also it's nice to make, I don't make much money, but it's the little money I do make, I can put back into the hobby. I can buy planes, I can buy a scenery, and then, every once in a while you get a developer that reaches out and wants you to try their product, and so, there's perks with that. And that's kind of what I was thinking about when I first started the YouTube channel, was just, just a place to put the content that I want to create, and just happen to put that behind airplanes. So we have a question from Guyver X. With your experience, what is the one or two things missing from the flight sim community? That's a good question. What is missing from the community? Well, I think some people, there's a lot of, if you're part of any of the groups on Facebook, I think there's a lot of, rude people out there that don't really want to help others. I know even though some questions get asked a million times, or it's a question that the person could simply just, ask on Google. I get comments and questions all the time that I read it and it's like, yeah, you could definitely get this answer easily on Google, but I don't like to make the person feel like, like that. And I can just quickly answer it. So, I think people could be a little nicer. I think flight simmers get in the way of themselves sometimes. And what I mean by that is, I just remember, what was the Dovetail flight sim that was coming out, Flight Sim World. I really think the community really killed that. They didn't even give that platform a chance to mature. It just received so much hate from the start that it wasn't coming out the way people wanted it to, and it was just in its infancy stages. Luckily, this isn't happening with Microsoft Flight Sim because Microsoft seems to have their shit together, and it just seems like they're going to do it right. But I mean, I just think patience. Community needs a little more patience, a little more understanding of newcomers, of new things that are in their infancy, and really that's all I can think of for that. That'd be another one that I'd have to kind of really ponder about to get a solid answer. But and speaking of Microsoft 2020, we have a question from Bruh Monkas. How excited are you for FS 2020? I am pretty excited about it. I'm trying not to get too excited because, then it gets harder to wait for something. But I'm pretty excited for what I've seen. I think it's really going to revolutionize the hobby for sure. And yeah, that's about all I can say about that. So from Kyle Wilson, what are your keybinds and settings for X-Plane 11? Well, I'd be happy to share those with you. That's a little much to answer. Things I do have bound, I got the G key bound for the landing gear. On my yoke here, I have the button right here you can't see, but I have that mapped for the toga. This red button here, I have mapped for VATSIM to open up the mic. I have this switch right here mapped for the trim. If you see my throttle quad here, I got this for the speed brake. I got this for the throttle, and then I have this for the flaps. And I think that's really it for the keys. Other than that, I have other keys mapped for like X camera and stuff so I can move around. But that's really it for the aircraft. I use the 4 key to arm and disarm the flaps. But yeah, that's really all I can think of. But if you'd like to see more of that, I could always share I guess an image or something of the mappings. Mike Patave, man, I know I'm butchering all these names, but Mike Patave, what kind of flights do you enjoy most on Flight Sim? I like, I do, like I said, a little bit of everything. I do, I think I like the medium flights, 2 hours, 3 hours. I think those are just long enough to, get a taste for Flight Sim. I do long hauls too, but those are more boring. It's a lot of sitting around doing nothing, or not even sitting at the computer at all, getting up and doing other things, because who wants to sit at the computer for 10 hours on a flight? I just don't see doing that with unless you're on VATSIM and you're doing an event or something like that. But yeah, I'd say the medium range flights are my favorite with airliners. The Active, what is your earliest aviation-related memory? That's a great question. I think the earliest memory I have related to aviation, I think I remember my dad putting me in one of those, you go to like a aviation museum and they have like the cockpit of like in this case it was like a fighter jet where everything else is gone and stripped. There's no exterior to the plane, it's just the cockpit. I have a memory of my dad like putting me in one of those. That's the earliest, and I must have been a toddler or something at that point. But yeah, that's the earliest memory I have. That one dude, B, do you believe the jar design A330 is a worth it purchase? I do. I like the jar design A330, and the cool thing is they update it constantly. It's not like they just put it out there and they hunt everybody out to dry and just, there's no support in it and it's bad. I think it's come a long way. It's not the best airliner for X-Plane, but I think it's pretty good. It flies pretty good. Once you learn it, a lot of the things you might think are the plane, it's usually just user error. The Aerosoft one is probably going to be pretty good too. But yeah, I like the jar design one. I think it's worth it for being the only A330. It's done well enough and things are simulated well enough to where it's enjoyable, and I think it's worth it. What is one thing First of all, it's by Jonathan L. What is one thing you wished exist in X-Plane? Good question. I'd really like to see the TFDI 717 over on X-Plane. I'd really like to see that plane. I'd also like to see Chase Plane on X-Plane 11. Chase Plane is a camera add-on for Prepared, and I really like Chase Plane. X camera is good too, but Chase Plane really simplified things and made things look really nice with that interface. So the 717 and X camera. Butterdat Corn, do you have a pilot's license in the real world? No, I do not. Not even close. I think one day I will. Definitely, that is a goal of mine to achieve. I have some ground school, but that's it. I don't have a pilot's license or anything, but I think I will one day. Vance Howerton, what's your favorite thing about the flight simulation community? Oh boy, I think it's cool that everybody kind of comes together, at these conferences and online. The online presence with the flight sim community is really good. The YouTube community, the Twitch community. It's just nice that people are making content, which is pretty cool, and people comment, and I've made a lot of friends through flight simulation, met a lot of great people, and I think that's the nice thing, the camaraderie, and just getting to know new people. Soundboy HD, how did you get into flight sim or aviation in general? Well, that was kind of answered before with the, how did I get into, how the flight bug happened for me. Yeah, that answers the flight sim question too, because right when I got back from that trip, I came home and loaded up Microsoft Flight Simulator X. I think I went and purchased it. I think at the same time I went to the store, I purchased Flight Sim X, and I purchased like the SciTech yoke and the throttle quad set. And I came home and just started learning it, and since then I've never put it down. Oh man, I dropped this one. Let's see. Aaron Amazon, what's your favorite aircraft? 737-800. Jose Abreu, P3D or X-Plane 11? I think both. These days I use X-Plane 11 a lot more. I personally enjoy it more, but I do not want to steer anybody away from either one. They're both great. I used Prepared for about 5 years straight before I went to X-Plane 11. And I don't have Prepared on my computer right now, but I'm about to reinstall it because there's some projects I need to work on for Prepared. But yeah, definitely both of them if you can. And I also want to say, it depends on what kind of aircraft you want to fly, because that's really going to matter. There's some better versions of aircraft on Prepared, and there's some arguably better versions of aircraft on X-Plane 11, so you'll really have to figure out what's on each platform and what you want to fly. Okay, this one's from Danny. If I can land the Zibo 737 on X-Plane consistently without issue, do you think I can safely land a real 737 if need be? I think you could do that. I think if you're established on the ILS approach, perfect weather, you don't have any crazy winds, it's a clear day, I really think you could do it, because it's a lot of the same stuff. A lot of this is muscle memory. It's knowing where the switches are, it's knowing what to do, knowing the procedures, and I think given the opportunity, you could probably carry it out safely. I really do believe that. And I do want to say, if you look at the new magazine that's coming out from FSElite at Cosford, we interviewed Flight Deck to Sim. He's flown the PMDG 7.3 and he's flown the Zibo, and he's a real 737 captain. And we kind of asked him the same question, and I think you'd be interested to see his answer there. Next one is from Crypt. How can I set up my sim to complement my real-life instrument training? I think it would depend on what aircraft you're flying. It might be nice if you're really serious about that to get a setup like this. Maybe you don't have to get the G1000s. There's different levels of price you can go with these, but if you get that, I think you could probably, fly well with for your instrument training. It might be important to have some type of throttle quad, a yoke, or a stick, depending on the aircraft, a radio stack, and maybe some buttons. If nothing else, if nothing like that, then like I said, those hardware components I think would help you a lot. From Dave Celis Hecht, what is your favorite plane? If that has already been asked, what is your favorite dinosaur? Again, the 738. My favorite dinosaur will probably be the T-Rex. Danny Clark, what's your favorite P3D scenery? Let's see, what did I really like? I really like the Samos Island in Greece. That who put that out? Maybe Latin VFR put that out, I think. I really like that scenery, and there's probably a few on Orbex that I liked. I always liked Eagle County. That was a nice one to go in and out of. Yeah, I think Samos. I think that would have to be my top favorite. Jeff Denham, how much time do you spend on flight simming? If you have a wife, partner, or kids, how do they feel about how much time you spend on flight sim? My wife probably thinks I spend way too much time on it. I do have kids, but I have a baby. She's only 3 months old, so I don't know her opinion on this yet. A lot of times she's in here with me. I'm holding her while I'm either video editing or sometimes flying. My wife, I think she sees, how much I like it, and that, I do it professionally through FSElite, through the videos I make on the channel. And, it's allowed me to travel the world for free. I've gotten to go to Cosford 2 years in a row, which was completely sponsored, everything, meals, flight, and hotel. So it's given me those kind of opportunities that I would not have otherwise. And I think she sees that, and it really just comes down to good time management. I first and foremost, you got to put in time with your family, and then try to find time for flight sim after that. Either do it in the early morning when everybody's sleeping, or put in a few hours with your family, and then towards the end of the night, or whatever, get some flight simming in. Maybe do a flight for an hour. Maybe if you only have 45 minutes of free time, go up and do the pattern. You can make it work. It just really comes down to good flight management. Time management. And, I think it's just good. If there is a problem, you can sit down and talk it out, come up with an agreement of when will be appropriate for you to fly and whatnot. I'm a little different because I'm doing this on the professional level of the business aspect of it. To just do it as a normal hobby, you might have to have some convincing to do there. But I think if you just talk it out. There were times where I was probably going a little overboard with it, because I actually spend probably more time video editing these videos than I do actually flying in the sim. So you just got to balance it out and know when you're going a little overboard with it. This one's from Tripix. How long have you been flight simming for? Well, like I said, I first tried it when I was like 13, and seriously flying it, probably 6 years. It'll be 6 years next year. Wyatt Mortimer, what's your favorite aircraft for X-Plane 11? That would have to be the Zebo Mod 737-800. X-Lego Gun X face reveal. Here's my face. It's been revealed. But it's been revealed plenty of times. I do live streams. I've done other talks like this. I did a QA, I think last year, like this. Yeah, so that's nothing new. But he might be new to the channel. Velicity. Have you heard of the new Flight Sim Network POSCON? If so, are you excited for it? I have heard of POSCON, and I've been following that a little bit. It's supposed to have a really nice voice codecs, looking pretty cool for the air traffic controllers and whatnot. And yeah, I guess I could say I'm excited for it. I'm excited to try it out. It'd be a new change from VATSIM. It'll be nice. We'll have four main online air traffic control modules now with that one. Camilo Velasco, what do you think about the new Microsoft Flight Simulator? We kind of already covered that, but I am pretty excited for it. Like I said, I really think it's going to be groundbreaking. Just from what we've seen, I hope so at least. But yeah, I think it's really going to come into fruition. I hope I'm on the alpha build. I did the survey. I think I have a good chance because of, I answered the questions about how often that I do it, and plus they also scan your system. They see how many monitors you got, what kind of monitors, what kind of hardware you have connected. So I think I have a good chance of getting selected. I hope. Alafan Hathaim, what's your dream? My dream was, I think, to have, at this point in my life, have a wife, have a family, have a house, have a good job. The flight sim thing is really coming along. We're going to have more than 13,000 subscribers now. And then getting into this, I did want to work for a developer, and now you know, they're not a developer, but it's FSElite. It's a flight sim news site. It gives me great opportunities to make videos and try out products. So I'd say those were kind of my dreams, and actually fortunate to be living those out. GamerBoyX, could you do a full guide on scenery add-ons in X-Plane 11? Keep up the great work, by the way. A full guide on scenery add-ons. So you mean like how to install them? Someone else asked me that too. It might have been you. I don't know. Somebody asked me that. And that is something I could do. It'd probably be a fairly short video. It's fairly simple to do to get all that going. But yeah, I could probably do a video about that. Why not? The Echo, what's your personal favorite flight sim to date? My personal favorite, I use them all. You know, like right now I use Prepared, X-Plane 11, DCS. I use Aerofly FS2, and then most recently I use IL2, which is incredible. That is an incredible combat sim. It's better than DCS in some ways, and the community doesn't talk about that too much. Combat sim in general doesn't get talked about enough within the flight sim community, and I really think it should. And I don't think it should be in this class of like combat, you know, because a lot of these planes are simulated better than the planes on X-Plane and Prepared. You know, as far as the aerodynamics, the things the planes do, it's simulated better, and it's pretty cool. So my favorite of them all, I did like FSX back in the day with the missions. That's what I started with. But I think I'd have to say X-Plane 11 at this point. That'll probably change when Microsoft comes out with this sim. We'll see. But for now, I'd say X-Plane 11. Vortex Generator. How has being a YouTuber impacted your passion for flight simulation? Or has being a YouTuber impacted? Yeah. If so, how? So he wants to know if being a YouTuber has in any way impacted my passion for this hobby. And I would definitely say yes. It has gotten me way more involved as being a YouTuber. You know, and I also learned a lot from people. I'd post videos in the beginning. I'd post videos where I barely knew what I was doing. I was just still learning this. And people would correct things and teach me things. So I learned from people in the comments. I've made a lot of friends through this. Yeah, just like, it's definitely got me more involved. I don't think I would flight sim as often as I do without the YouTube channel. And because I have the YouTube channel, I'm always inspired to do a new type of flight or a new type of something. Try a new product, try a new scenery. You know, it's got me flying all over the world and in places that I never thought I would have fly. Project Fly version 3, I think it's out now, has really inspired this too, because it kind of lets you see where you've flown, where you haven't flown, you know, and that really helps too, to kind of log these flights, and that's something I hope Microsoft 2020 also has is stats and a logbook, just something that records your flights. Also hope you can connect that up with Project Fly. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to, but yeah, it's definitely made me more passionate. Getting through these questions, don't have too many left here. City user, what's your favorite route? My favorite route would probably be like, being I live in California, I'd say like LAX up to Sacramento. So LAX to SMF. I like that route. It's my favorite route. So SLRNJJ wants to know, how do you schedule flaps up and down on the primary flight display for takeoff and landing, respectively, on the Zibo mod? Is it just automatic, or do I need to do something specific? I can't seem to have any of those when I fly the Zibo, and I've watched your video about how to fly the Zibo mod, but I can't seem to reach any conclusion about what or how to do it. It's not automatic. You have to set it up yourself, and it's different for departure and arrival. It's a lot easier on the arrival side, but it's just, if you leave a comment for me on that video, and I'll timestamp you the 2 areas that you need to watch for that. It's just easier to show you that way. And then if you still need help, I'll be there to help. Vortex, what new study level aircraft would you like for Prepared or X-Plane 11? What new study level aircraft? I'd like to see a good 7.4 777 for X-Plane. Maybe they already have them. I haven't used them. I don't know how they compare to the PMDG. I mean, what's missing? The A330's missing from prepared, but that's coming out soon. You know what? I'd have to say the A380. I think that's really wanted. I think Davies is working on one, so hopefully that comes out soon. But yeah, I'd have to say the A380. Sergio Garcia, what type of add-on or feature for greater immersion would you like to be implemented in any of the simulators? I think better weather, better rain on more aircraft. That's one thing I noticed with IL-2. When you come through the clouds, the water that washes on the windscreen is so realistic. I really would like to see something like that. Raindrops have come a long way. I remember the Sims, we didn't have really much of anything. I'm going to try to give you something better than just raindrops, though. An add-on or feature. More tablet integration would be nice. A lot of these aircrafts are having tablets now, which is nice. I don't know. That's all I can think of now. X-Plane 11 would be nice to have some seasons, to see some snow, to see the colors change in fall. I think that's all I can think of. Cryptic Fustic, if you could make a plug-in / plane or scenery, what would it be? I'd really like to see somebody make Cosford, which is going on next week. But the Cosford Airport, I could see Orbex doing that. That seems like their style of airport to do. I'd like to see that. If I can make a plug-in, what would the plug-in do? I might try to do something with the camera, like a different camera add-on that integrates a little better. And then for a plane, I don't know, it's because so many planes have been made and are being done. There's so many great ones out there. I think it'd be cool to see the new Cessna, the new Citation jet. I forgot exactly what they call it. There's a new one. Harrison Ford has one. That'd be nice to see too. Well, that's all I got. All right. Got 3 more to go. Harley Christensen, what kind of commercial aircraft do you enjoy the most to fly? That would be the 737-800. That's my favorite commercial aircraft. I like the 747 too. I'll give you a few. 717, 738, 747, and the A320. I like the A320. Alex Felton, P3D or X-Plane 11 versus FSX. If I can only pick one, I'd say X-Plane 11. But again, to not discourage anybody, I would discourage you from FSX unless you're just getting into this and you want to see if you're going to like airplanes and flight sim. I'd say get FSX because it's cheap and you can find out if you like it. And there's great tutorials that will teach you how to do things and show you the ropes. But it's not 2009 anymore. More technology is being furthered. So I'd definitely go with Prepared or X-Plane 11, but if I had to pick one between the other, I'd say X-Plane 11 for myself. But again, it depends the planes you want to fly and what you want to do. And, try them all. Try them all so you really know what you like. And, yeah. So for the very last question here, we have it from F.O. Marquise. Assuming that's first officer. What is the best simulator out there? I think that's a difficult question to answer because they all do different things. DCS, you're going to be flying more warplanes, older ones, new ones, F-18s, Warthogs. Prepared seems to have the best big jets, the 747s, the 777s, and then also the FSElite's A320. Was really, really good for study level. But then on the X-Plane side, you got the 738, the Zebo, the Zebo stuff, which is the 737, the 8, the 9, and the Max is coming out soon. And those are free. And excellent quality. I mean, arguably up there with the PMDG, if not better. Dare I say that? But I've used both. Used PMDG for a long time. Now I'm using the Zibo, and yeah, I just think. Let me get this question again. It was, yeah, the best simulator. So that's hard to say. I think it really depends on the individual and what you're doing. I don't think one is better than the other. You know, if you like VFR flying and you just want to fly in like the Colorado area, California, Florida, New York, well, Aerofly FS2, that is one of the best VFR experiences you'll get. Also, the Bell 22 helicopter on there. I think, what is it, R22? Bell 22? That's the best, probably the best realistic helicopter experience you can have, and paired with that scenery, that's really the way to go. So it just depends. So we got through all the questions. Once again, thank you everybody for the continued support on the channel and for asking so many questions. I mean, if you look here, this is a lot of questions that we got through here. So what we're gonna do now is the goal with this was you ask a question and you get entered in for the Thrustmaster flight stick, which I don't have right now. It didn't come as soon as I wanted it to. It was supposed to be here on Friday, but it didn't come. So I wanted to have it here to show you. But so I'm going to draw, actually, I'll draw two names. The first name is the actual winner. I'm going to draw a backup name just in case, because there have been times where I do these and, you know, I have trouble getting hold of the person who won. So we'll do two names just in case. So, you know, the second name will be, an honorable mention if nothing else, you know. So let's go ahead and we'll get it shaken up pretty good. Mix these up a bit. All right, I think that's pretty good. And then we'll go in here and we'll see what we can pull out of here. I got one. Who is it? Alex Felton with the question we just answered not that long ago with P3D versus X-Plane 11 versus FSX. You, sir, are the winner. I can kind of get it to focus. You are the winner of the Thrustmaster flight stick. And so I'll reach out to you for your contact information so I can get that shipped out to you. And let's draw one more. Tripix, how long have you been flight simming for? You are the runner-up, sir, in case this individual does not get back to me on the Thrustmaster flight stick. So, yeah, maybe I could send you a t-shirt or something. Let me know if that's something you'd like. I got the Flight Sim Deck t-shirts right over here. You would just have to let me know the size, and I could get one of those out to you just for being a good sport. All right, well, that's gonna do it for the QA, everybody. Once again, you guys are awesome. Thank you for the support. These questions were really good, really thoughtful questions, and really awesome. I'd like to do this probably once a year. You know, I gain new subs every year, and new people come on board. They don't know, who I am or anything about me. So, hey, it's nice to do this, and it, it might be a nice, refreshing QA with Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 coming out too. So, all right, buddy, thanks for your time. Thanks for watching this, and congratulations on winning the flight stick. So, I'll see you guys out there. You guys take care. See you next time.